landed after the distance of 17 cars.
Wow. You see Mad Dog and Equalizer staging to see who will go up against Rod in the final. But before we get to their matchup, we had promised you a little in-depth look at the problem that the most popular truck in the sport, the Gravedigger's been experiencing, and we're going to do that right now. You know, Dennis Anderson, this has been a too familiar scene for him. He's worked on this truck all year and continued to break. Breakage in the driveline, in the suspension, problems with engines. We asked Dennis to assess 1989, a year that held such great promise for the Gravedigger.
Well, this year has been up and down. You know, we've had some good times and a lot of bad times. We've had a lot of breakages, you know, the new season, and it's been tough. You know, we've been working on the truck every single weekend. You know, we're trying to improve the truck and get it better, and we just got some problems that we can't work out. We fix one thing and then the next thing breaks, you know, but I do throw down some real wild passes, you know, and the truck has always got an excuse for braking. And the way I drive it super hard, and that's the way I want the truck to run. So we've got to build the truck better so it will run hard all the time.
Wild passes. That's an understatement. This is 1988, Raleigh, North Carolina. Gravedigger meets a utility pole. Let's see who wins.
Gravedigger 1, utility pole 0. That's just the way he drives.
Move it up a year. Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville Motor Speedway. And headed for the wall, but he's not backing off an inch.
Not backing off. He gets it into the wall, and he still tries to continue the race. He's trying to move the truck on. Anderson, notorious for not quitting. Speaking of not quitting, Buffalo, New York. Look at the air. Pulls a trigger about 30 feet into the air for Anderson and the Gravedigger, and the crowd went wild.
But with so many of those wild runs, more problems. It's got to be taking its toll on Dennis Anderson.
I'm feeling kind of tired right now. I'm kind of glad that the season's coming to an end. I really need a break. It's been tough, you know, because we thrash on the truck every show we get to, and a lot of times we have to pack up from one show and travel 1,000 miles, and it's rough. I mean, it's not Disneyland out here. You can believe that.
You better believe it. Dennis Anderson. It's been rough and it's been rugged throughout the year. Here he is in Toronto, Canada last winter. You see how rough this ride is, how much abuse the truck takes. And then, a couple of weeks ago here on Tuff Track, in Kalamazoo, Michigan, a real wild ride, almost going over against USA 1. We asked Dennis if he's surprised about remaining in the top 5 for points with all the bad luck he's had this year.
Yeah, it really does. You know, we've had a whole lot of breakage, but when the truck stays together, it runs super hard, I score high. That's why I'm trying to stay in 4th place. I really want to jump on up a couple of notches. I'm really shooting for 1st place, but we're pretty close to the end of the season, and it'd be almost impossible to pull it off now, but I'm not giving up.
He remains one of the most popular figures in motorsports today, Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. And you better believe he'll be back to have his day. As a matter of fact, Dennis tells us, keep your eyes on Tuff Track. We're going to see him back in action next week. As for this week, we're down to 3, really. We're going to eliminate one more right here. The other semifinal, that man, John Breen, drops the goggles and is ready to go in Mad Dog. His opponent is the national point leader, David Morris, and the Equalizer, who has been winning, but he's really having some problems.
Well, the problems are a result of the gearing. You've got to remember, Morris in that left lane can only run the truck at a certain RPM. He goes out and it reaches a plateau. He has to stay there. He can't overwind the engine. He did it last week. It cost him about a $25,000 engine. He's going to the final just by doing some good heads-up driving. The other side of the coin is Litzau, believe me, is going to drive it out the back door with that 80-mile-an-hour gear.
You know, that's what you got to be thinking about if you're David Morris. An Equalizer, he can go as well as he can and as strong as he can, but Litzau is just all out all the time.
If Morris is going to beat Litzau in Milwaukee, he'll have to beat him over the first 2 jumps and get a lead enough for Litzau not to pull him back. I don't believe that'll be the case. We're going to find out in the final.
There's Rod Litzau talking with Mike Wine. He'll get ready for the finals against Equalizer. Coming up next, the Monster Smash, right here.
Famous Milwaukee Mile in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the finals of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Defending world champion Rod Litzau and USA 1 got there by defeating Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher. And the current points leader, David Morris, an Equalizer, made it to the championship by whipping John Breen's Mad Dog. Now it's time for the Monster Smash and the race for the silver flag.
On the left side of your screen. The Equalizer got the early lead, but he's not going to be able to hold it.
Equalizer did exactly what he had to do, but USA won loudly, bangs it out. With the 10:79, the quickest time of the night, and you're marching back for that national championship.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. You know, I told you earlier that I had to figure out that first hill, and once I figured that out, that's where I was losing a little bit of time because the truck was going, and I pushed it to the max on the end. I guess my crew chief, Steve, just told me that we just used the motor to the max in that last run, and that's where I save it for.
He did it. He's got his third straight win one more time. Army really set us up perfectly on it. Equalizer got the early edge. Army said he had to do that, but his lead early was not big enough. And all the horsepower at the end was all USA 1 as he just blew it right on out of there. 3 in a row for USA 1 as he continues to remain a player for the national championship. As Rod Litzow and USA 1 will be back in the Milwaukee Mile next week to try and make it 4 wins in a row. Gravedigger says he'll be